Hey, live on Pat's Soundbytes Unplugged podcast, keeping new music alive on the radio, on video throughout the world. And man, do I got a great episode, a great show today. Yes, Skid Row, the gang's all here. Well, I got 2 out of the 3 on the On Deck Circle, and I'm blessed to even have them to get a chance to chat with them. But we're talking about this great album that's coming out officially on October 14th. The gang's all here. Have you not checked out their tracks that have been put out there? The gang's all the title track. And I'm going to play Tear It Down. I mean, you got to know what we're talking about. So, I mean, I can't get the smile off my face. So it's time to play a little Skid Row. Button and do whatever you got to do, boy. You got to want this album. Go pre-order it today. Speaking of Skid Row, I got Dave Snake Sabo and Rachel Bolin. Where are you guys? Yeah.
How are
you? We are tearing it down. I almost got all the gang here, but it's okay. I got the gang here. Man, congratulations, fellas. I can't get the smile off my face when to have this opportunity to chat with you. Holy crap. If you guys did, I don't know, is it like hitting Powerball? You find this killer singer, and then you get a great Grammy award-winning producer, and you guys got these killer tracks. And oh my goodness, I don't know. I could talk all day about it, but talk to me about this, Snake, man. Nice to meet you. And are you pinching yourself going, holy shit, it's been a long time, and the fans are loving it all over the world?
Well, I think that we're really fortunate to have been able to get together with Nick Raskulinecz, who produced the record, and then obviously finding Eric, who is just an incredible force. He sang every song on this record exactly the way that we heard it in our heads. And so that's like a blessing in and of itself. And I just think that this whole process was challenging, but in the best possible way, and so rewarding in the way that it turned out. It's been a long time since I think we all collectively felt the same way about a record that we completed.
And Rachel, I mean, this brought me back to old school Skid Row. I mean, back to your roots. I mean, Slave and Monkey Business. I mean, this was like, where did this all come from? And I mean, for Eric, I mean, how difficult is it for a guy to have to learn the songs and sell it emotionally like he owns it?
Well, that's the thing with Eric. He, well, first of all, to the first part of the question, we give so much of the credit to Nick, our producer, Nick Raskulinecz, of getting us to be like what he said. I need you guys. It sounds like you guys were afraid to be Skid Row, and we didn't know what that meant until he kept working with us, and he'd give us examples of what he was talking about and try to get the creative juices flowing to bring us back to where we were and when we wrote that first album. And that's like it's really not as easy as it sounds. Retracing your roots without any guidance is really hard. But he was a fan, and he has a different perspective on our music than we do, because our first album is a photograph in time for him as teenage Nick. You know what I mean? For us, we were the band, so we grew, and it's just part of us. But you don't notice how far you start getting away from your roots until someone, shows you how to get back there. And that's exactly what Nick did. We put all of our trust in him. And as far as Eric, wow, man, his story is amazing. In short, he used 18 in Life as he grew up listening to us. He's a few years younger, quite a few, and he used 18 in Life as his audition for Sweden's Idol, and in 2009, and he won. And we toured with them. He came out with Skid Row, his band Heat from Sweden. And it was just this one big circle. But when we sent him the stuff to sing, just like you said, he owned it, and it was so easy for him to do. I think because he understood us, because he was a fan. You know what I mean? And he grew up singing to Skid Row records, and he sang to AC/DC and Sammy Hagar and stuff like that. So it came really easy and natural for him, and he gets those lyrics in front of him, and he is in it. He's in the moment for every single lyric that comes out of his mouth. And like Snake said, he sang it exactly how we heard it in our heads. When he sent it back, because he did it remotely in his house in Sweden, with Nick guiding him through with the technical stuff, and we made so little changes to what he sent us back. We're like, wow, this is insane. And we don't even really personally know the guy.
I was going to say, Snake, how did you hey, man, I want to offer you this job, but I don't know what beer you do. I don't know if you snore. I don't know how you perform. Well, obviously you got to see him perform a little bit when you guys caught up with him with his band Heat. But I mean, how do you even go, yeah, we want you, but we don't even know you? How killer is that?
That's the craziest thing about all of this, because he had recorded 80% of the record before we even sat in the same room together. And we were just going on our instincts when we realized collectively that we felt we needed to make a change. He was really the first person, and really the only person, that we kind of spoke about. Rachel had brought his name up, and we kind of went down the rabbit hole of stuff that he was doing on YouTube, and it was really, really impressive. He was singing everything from Iron Maiden to Queen to Van Halen, Dio, and he sang it with such confidence and with such ease that we started talking about, wow, wouldn't it be great to hear his voice on the Skid Row material? And so Rachel reached out to him via Instagram and said, basically, was really vague, and said, you know what? We think you got a really cool voice, and we've written some songs we'd love to hear your voice on. So can we send you something? And he said, yeah. And we sent them The Gang's All Here. And when we got it back, we were all floored. Like everybody was like, this is next level. Like, this is a game changer. And so, but we were still, because our cynical selves, we had to make sure beyond the shadow of a doubt that he was the right guy. Again, not even meeting him. And so we sent them 2 more songs, and he sent them back, and they were just as good, if not better. And so Rachel and I got on a Zoom call with him, and we had small talk for about a minute or so. And then Rachel said to him, he goes, so how do you feel about being the new lead singer for Skid Row? And he put his head down, and both Rachel and I thought, he's going to say no, he's got commitments, he doesn't want to do it, whatever. And all these thoughts are racing through our heads. And then he lifted his head up, and he goes, I would be honored. And we all, had a collective sigh of relief. And so from that point on, we were rolling, and we knew that we had to get this record done and also get prepared for the Scorpions residency in Las Vegas. And so we got him into the United States after he sang about 8 tracks of the record. We got him into the United States on March 22nd. We all met up in Las Vegas, and it felt so natural, so unforced. It was as if we all knew each other for decades. It was really strange, but really like great. And it just goes to show you what putting your trust in your gut instincts will allow to happen. And we got in a rehearsal room on Wednesday and Thursday, and he did his homework, and he owned all those songs in the set list that he had grown up singing. And we went out and played. We took Friday off and played Saturday, our first show. And it was pretty incredible that we had only known each other on a personal level for 4 days, face to face. And we were able to go out, and we had a great first show. And it's only been, it's just trajectory's been upward and forward since then.
That's crazy. I mean, dreams do come true. I mean, full circle for this guy. And his story, I mean, he's a cancer survivor. I mean, his story is a movie in itself.
Sure
and then
is.
you add this on top of it. I mean, I watched a little bit of doing an interview, and he's so down to earth and so grateful for every opportunity. And I'm like, man, I just can't wait to see this guy perform live. But he's the real deal. He's got to bring just a certain energy for you guys. I mean, like you said, right, Rachel said he's a little bit younger, probably than all three of us put together. But you know, it's like probably one of our kids running around here. But the energy of a change for a group has got to be like so uplifting for you guys, Rachel.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and I've been explaining it this way. It's like when Rob Hammersmith came into the band. He brought an energy from behind the kit that made Scotty, Snake, and myself become better players, and we felt that unit get really tight. And now that Eric's in the band, he brought the 4 of us. It just all really came together. It's hard to explain. It's just like you get in a situation that just happens so easily and so naturally, and when it's as good as it gets in a really positive way, it's just really hard to explain unless you're on the inside of it. But it now we're just this whole new, there's a whole horizon out there that we dreamt of doing but never really did, and now we can because of all 5 of us together, and we know what we could accomplish now. You know, we want to do a live record, we want to do a live DVD, we want to just play and keep playing more, you know. And Eric's story, just being a cancer survivor, that mentality he applies to everything, just being positive and being grateful, and it's infectious, man. You know, I mean, I always, usually 9 times out of 10 before my footsteps on stage, I think of what an amazing life I'm leading. But with him, it just kind of just ramps that up about 300%. You know,
Absolutely. I get up every day. I'm just so blessed. I'm like, you know what? If it ends tomorrow, you know, I'm just cool. I got a great family. I've been able to do what I needed to do in the music business. Somebody, you know, I'm cutting the grass, and I come up with this idea about the dice game. You know, or somebody told me, you know, nobody plays new music anymore, and that like just opened my eyes. And before you know it, you know, I got a listener in Anchorage, Alaska. You know, I'm like, I don't even know what time they get up, but they're like, who was that? Where did you get that? Where? I'm like, holy crap, you know. So no disrespect to corporate radio, but there are people like myself out there that, look, I never thought I'd meet the Scorpions. Are you kidding me? I played all their tracks. I love them like everybody else, like a fan. And here I am high-fiving Klaus and Mateus the other night going, this is unreal. So good. I mean, it's such a great story. I got to ask you, Snake, what's the key to the longevity of this band for the lineup changes and all the garbage and bullshit and the guy that you had in the band way back when? And here you guys still overcome the grunge, the hip hop, and you save, you know, it was like this, like I said, Powerball. All of a sudden now you got Eric. And man, thank God you guys didn't break up or, you know, it just get frustrated.
Well,
like a lot of other bands have.
Yeah. I think it's what it is for us is that we made, Rachel and I first started the band, we made a pact with each other that we carried into the whole formation band, was that if we didn't love it anymore, when it stopped being fun, when it became, job like, something you didn't like, we would walk away from it. And we did that once. And then we realized when Rachel, Scotty, and I reconvened, we realized that we loved the music that we created and we loved playing the music that we created. And so we wanted to go forward with, with new members who were going to share the same love for it as we did. And we were able to do that. But I think that you need to love the music you play and love the people that you play it with. And Rachel, Scotty, and I have a brotherhood, and Rob is a part of that, and Eric is now a part of that. Eric just, again, fit in, just slipped in like he's always been here. And so, I look across the stage and I realize, I know and Rachel and Scotty, and have more relationship with those guys, a tightness and a love than I do for some of my blood relatives. So I know them better than my own family. And so that just speaks volumes of the reason why we're still connected at the hip, really. I mean, there's not a day that goes by that Rachel and I don't talk. Like, that's pretty incredible after 36, 37 years of knowing each other and, 36 years of being in the band together. Those things, we realize how fortunate and how lucky we are to have these relationships with one another. And they mean everything. They mean everything. So when you have a brotherhood like that, it just makes all of this so much sweeter.
Well, amen. That you guys are still kicking ass and taking names, boy. This is awesome. Rachel, let me ask you, how much of a challenge is it to lose a bandmate, to have to let somebody go that is a friend? I mean, ZP in the band, I'm sure he was a friend, and maybe different strategies or different interests, and you got to say, look, this is the goal of the band, and maybe we change it. Change needs to happen. Sometimes change is good. And look what you got.
It's hard. It's really hard when you have to make a decision that could affect someone else's life and your life. You know what I mean? And it's never taken lightly. But sometimes you just start growing in different directions. And it's really important to be like-minded with everyone. To have five guys with a common goal, whether they're quickly obtainable or you have to work at them for a while. And, it's tough and it's a really hard decision to make. But you have to just be like, okay, this isn't personal, it's business, and we got to move on. And so that's what happened. And, hopefully someday we'll be having beers together again, whatever, and all be buds. But sometimes that doesn't happen that way. But it was never a decision that was taken lightly, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a business, and like you just said, it affects everybody. Whether nobody's high-fiving each other, going, "Hey, I got rid of that asshole." When he was part of the group, he was part of that chemistry. So there's a lot of magic there. But man, Snake, can you wait to get into starting a writing process with Eric, just to get an idea of where this guy is coming from and his ideas?
We've already started.
I bet you have.
Yeah, we've already started. That was one of the things that we noticed really early on when we were doing a residency in Las Vegas. We all picked up on the fact that he was a really creative force, and he was throwing ideas around almost from day one. And so that was really, I think that was a sigh of relief from Rachel and my standpoint, just knowing that we have a guy in the band who is really motivated and really creative and is going to be a really positive asset to the whole process of putting together the next record.
How cool is that? Just to have another whole open mind, a different. My kids are in their 30s, and I'm a dinosaur, but I love all kinds of music. But I never really was into the hip hop thing, but I try to keep a clear head. I mean, I'm not a big fan of all that rap stuff, but when I do see Post Malone putting out an album with Ozzy Osbourne, I go, maybe Dad needs to keep his ears open and see what else is going
Right.
on. But it ain't the end of the world. But it's always good to grow and be more knowledgeable. I mean, I got to hang out with Billy Gibbons. He's pretty much a good friend of mine. He always tells me, you got to listen to the blues. We got to make some noise. The way he talks, it's just incredible. But man, I tell you, the album, as they said, the Snake in the beginning, hell of Rye Water, and what is the October Song, and I like the flow of the album. I mean, I don't see anything wrong. I think it's great. I'm disappointed that the Scorps didn't have you on tour to come on this other tour. I mean, I love Thunder Mother. I interviewed the lead singer last year, Ganita, and I was a little disappointed losing the whole Whitesnake thing. But man, I'm like, this would have been perfect to have you guys continue, Rachel, the tour with the Scorps.
Yeah, we were hoping for it, but they decided to do it their way, We're hoping sometime in the future, not so distant future, we'll be doing more shows with them because, man, Vegas was a blast, and those guys are so cool after all these years and all they've done, and they're just cool rock, these guys that we looked up to, just so cool and it's so good live. And so we're hoping someday down the road that we could, do some
You
shows.
did it once, it'll happen again. Look, I never thought I'd be hanging with them guys, but you got to believe, and I believe every day. That's not a problem. Snake, I got to ask you, I got a lot of listeners that say, you never ask enough gear questions. And I got a buddy of mine that drove me crazy when I told him I was going to chat with you guys. Ask him about the Kramer guitar, the signature Kramer. I was like, well, just go and buy it. You can have it. Just go and buy it. But he says, I got to ask you about the killer Kramer guitar and the design and everything, Snake.
Well, that whole thing started like I'll be very honest. I when it was presented to me as an idea, I thought it was a joke. I'm like, no one would want this. This is just it's my little thing that it was created back when Rachel and I first met in 1985, and his brother knew of a guy that was an airbrush artist, and it was more about the artwork than necessarily the guitar at that point. And so the guy's name was Dennis Klein. He was a great artist. And I just gave him an idea. I can't draw or anything like that. So
That makes two of us.
I couldn't give him any direction that way. It was all verbal. And he came up with that. And that was 1985. And so I played that because we put the guitar together in the music store that we all worked at. And then when we got involved with Kramer, I had Kramer redo it for me. Back then, I was probably like 86, 87, and they put all Kramer stuff on it and set it up for me. And then I played it for quite a while. I kind of retired it after the Slave to the Grind tour and didn't really think much of it. But then there was an intern that was in our management office a bunch of years back, and he always said to me, one day we got to do a Snake signature series. And I laughed at it. Then lo and behold, he goes to work for Gibson, and he put forth the idea again. And again, I was like, there's no way anyone's going to want this. And the people from Gibson, I met with a couple of the heads of the company, and they were like, yeah, we want to do this. We really do. I'm like, because they had bought Kramer, Gibson did. And they were, Cesar, who's the second in command there, was like, this is a passion project for me. I want to do this. And obviously I was very humbled by that. And it turned out great. And, people seem to like it. So I'm very flattered and humbled. And I have a great amount of gratitude towards the people at Gibson and Kramer for even venturing down this road.
Well, there you go. Putra, that was for you, my man. You're always asking me. You got to ask Snake about it. So there you go. Rachel, you're down in Nashville, I believe, correct?
Yeah, just outside of Nashville.
I mean, I've been interviewing, it seems like every artist from Tommy Shore to Mark Slaughter to everybody I know left LA. and it is in Nashville. And when I went down to Nashville quite a while ago, it was always that, the country, the Earl Tubbs, and I get all that. And today, Nashville is really Music City of everything. And I always ask Mark Slaughter, how the hell do you go to the store? And he's like, nobody's looking for me, dude. They're looking for Tim McGraw, Keith Urban. I mean, what kind of what is Nashville anymore? I mean, everybody says that is the place to go. I mean, for music and songwriting, and you can go anywhere and hear somebody play.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I there is a rock scene there. I lived in it after I moved out of Jersey. I lived in Atlanta for about 14 years before I moved to Nashville, and the whole time I was in Atlanta, I wrote with one person, and that was Snake when he flew down to my house. And the first year I lived in Nashville, I wrote with about 12 different people, and I'm still writing with other people, all kinds of music, not just, there's a couple country things, nothing has been placed or anything yet, but it's just nice to work the muscle and meet people and see how like professional songwriters work, because I consider us professionals, but we're just, it's a different level and a different way, and they do things and the way that they do things, and it's just really cool to watch them work and how they craft a song. And sometimes you have a good idea, sometimes you don't, but that's the same when Snake and I get in a room, and it's always with this band, it's always best idea wins. But it's really cool just writing. You walk into a room and no one there. And I'm like the odd man out. You got guys that have been writing country, some guys maybe for the last 5 years, sometimes for the last 20 years. And here I am, a friend of a friend got me in and all this stuff. And I'm like, hey, my name is Rachel and I'm addicted to rock and roll, that type of thing. And, you kind of get the look. And then friendships with a lot of people I've written with, and some guys are just they're rock and rollers that moved to Nashville that became country, but they're like, oh dude, I got your first album. It's really cool. And I really love creating. We both do, and it's a good place to do that because a lot of my friends live there, and our friend Ryan, I was wanting to get out of Atlanta. I like it there. I have friends there, but there was zero music scene. So he's like, man, it's more rock here than you would ever know. You're a songwriter. You should live here. There's no guarantees, but you're in Skid Row anyway. So, so I like it. I really like it there. And Nick Raskulinix, our producer.
Yeah, I was going to say, Nick is there, right? Yeah.
He lives like 1 mile apart, and he he's all rock all the time, and we convene there and record in his studio. That's where we did the record, and it's cool. It's a really cool community. Sometimes you fit in, sometimes you don't, but that's the chance you take, and you just I like leaving a write and going, you know what? I kicked ass in there. I created some really cool stuff, and that happens most of the time. I feel good about myself. So, and it keeps the muscle, working the muscle, the songwriting muscle too.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's even if it was a country song, maybe it helps on, a different chord or whatever you're working on. So that's all good. Yeah. It seems like every other day, it's like Damon Johnson down in Nashville, or this one down in Nashville, or Mark or whoever. It's like, I said, I guess I got to get down to Nashville. It's been a while. So it's on our bucket list for my wife and I. Snake, upcoming tours. I know you got a couple of shows in the Northeast coming. I did see one for Kingston, New York in October. Are you guys actually coming to UPAC and opening up for Jeff Beck?
No, that's
oh, damn.
I wish. Jeff Beck obviously is just absolute legend, but no, that was how do I put this? That was a screw up on the promoter's part.
Okay.
To put it blunt. We were it just fell through, and it took a while for us to be made aware of it, but it was pretty obvious when they had Jeff Beck advertised for the night that we were supposed to play.
I'm like,
So
wow, Kingston, New York ain't gonna be the same, man, having you guys and Jeff Beck.
Oh, that would have been phenomenal. What an honor that would have been.
Well, that only means that if it's not in UPAC, I go on October 14th, and I don't even know. That's a Friday. That's actually the release day of the album. The gang's all here. I just have to drive down to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania to Wind Creek, or I can go to Mohegan Sun on Saturday, October 15th, before you head over to Europe.
Yeah.
Where can everybody do the pre-orders there, Rachel or Snake, either or?
You could pre-order on skidrow.com. It's the first thing that pops up when you go to the website, especially on the mobile version. Or you could just go straight to the website, and there'll be a link to pre-order. And also at Ear Music, you can pre-order it there. That's our record label.
I love it. Love the tracks. I like I said, I can't get the smile off my face for you guys. It's hitting the ball out of the park and then some. And look forward to a lot of great more music and getting a chance to meet Eric. Man, what a story and a half. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation as much as
without
I have.
a doubt. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Pat. It's been a pleasure. Man,
I don't know what took this long, but you know what? Things happen for a reason, and I'm glad to be able to meet you guys and chat with you, and can't wait to see you in Poughkeepsie. And if I got to drive my ass 2.5 hours to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, it won't be the first time, I can tell you that. And hook up with you and have a cold one, and we can laugh and maybe roll the dice there. Fuck
there
it,
you
go. All right, guys. Well, it doesn't get any better than this. Go out and purchase it. It comes out officially globally on Friday, October 14th. The gang's all here. You don't want to miss it. Right here on Pat's Soundbytes Unplugged podcast, keeping your music alive. That's what I do. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out these guys on tour before they go to Europe.
Thank you, Pat.